Tonight's virtual debate is between Mayor William Manger Jr. and Trustee Edward Simeoni. Welcome, Mayor and Trustee Simeoni.
Thank you.
I'm Kathy. I'm Kathy Kenny. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters from Shelter Island, and I'll serve as moderator for this evening's debate. Joining me off camera this evening is Arlene Herkemeier, who's our publicity chairperson. Ellen Goldstein will serve as my backup if I get hit by a bus. And Mary Pelicane, who's the League of Women Voters debate coordinator for Southampton. On camera besides me is Eileen Mercer, who will serve as a timekeeper. So kind of keep an eye on her as you answer questions, if you would. The rules of the debate are the same as they were for the trustee candidates. Namely, each candidate will have 2 minutes for an opening statement and 1 minute for a closing statement. Each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to respond to each question. In addition, each candidate will have the opportunity for one-minute rebuttal to any of his opponent's responses. I think I perhaps didn't make that clear last time. You don't get 1 minute for each question. You get one minute rebuttal over the course of all of the questions. Okay?
Over all of the questions.
All of the not just, yeah, okay.
Okay.
To begin, the candidates will speak in alphabetical order. We'll then alternate each question in rotation so that the person who went first last time will then go second the next time. So Mayor William Manger will go first, followed by Trustee Edward Simeoni, and closing statements will be given in reverse alphabetical order. So if you don't have any questions with all of that, I'll ask the mayor to give us his 2-minute opening statement.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy, and good evening to everyone. I want to begin by thanking the League of Women Voters for hosting this debate today. I'm Mayor Bill Manger, and I'm proud to be running for re-election this year, continuing serving you and the village I've called home my entire life. I'm running because I believe in putting our community first, not politics or personal agendas, but real results that improve the quality of everyone's life in Southampton Village. Over the past 2 years, it has been my honored duty to step up for the residents, workers, and volunteers who make our village a special place. We've made tangible progress on traffic mitigation, public safety, beautification, and environmental initiatives. We've repaved 20 streets, completed 15 drainage projects, and planted over 400 trees to preserve our village's natural character. We also tackled long overdue infrastructure repairs, including new roofs at the Southampton Arts Center and at Veterans Hall, all while never piercing the tax cap and keeping taxes flat this year. I'm proud of the tone we've set in Village Hall. We've moved past the division that once defined our local government. Today, Village Hall is a place of collaboration and respect, where residents and officials work together toward a shared, forward-looking vision. But I'm most proud of the amazing relationships Village Hall and I now have with the people who keep us all safe. The police department, the fire department, and the volunteer ambulance corps. We have the best first responders in the state of New York in any village. I love this village. I've always called it home. As I wrote in a letter to all residents 2 years ago, my parents told me that to be a solid citizen, one must contribute to one's community. That is why I am totally committed to this village and to all of its residents. I am beholden to nobody but you. And anyone who really knows me knows that I am my own person. I'm proud of what we've accomplished thus far, but I know that there's more to do. I have the focus and energy to deliver for you. And so I'm asking for 2 more years. I look forward to our discussion tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Simeoni.
Thank you. Good evening. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting tonight's debate. I can't think of a more critical time to talk about the challenges facing Southampton and the clear differences between the candidates running to lead it. Right now, our village is at a crossroads. We are facing a traffic crisis. We're in the middle of major infrastructure projects, some with skyrocketing costs and little transparency. We've seen dramatic zoning changes with more on the way, yet no clear long-term strategy. And at the same time, public participation is being restricted. Residents are being shut out of decisions that will shape the future of our village. That's why I'm running, to offer a more thoughtful, transparent, and inclusive vision for Southampton, one that puts our community first. That starts with Pond Lane staying open. It means no more surprise projects like the 5.9 million project that led to an industrial grade solar awning in the historic district right next to Agawam Park, and no more top-down decisions about sewers and other major initiatives. The public should lead the process, not be left reacting to it. When it comes to traffic and safety, we need real, comprehensive solutions, not band-aids. We'll strengthen what's working and fix what isn't. Above all, I will listen, because our government should serve you, not the other way around. The campaign is about restoring balance to the board and giving your voice back. Thank you. I look forward to this discussion.
Thank you. The first question, Mayor Manga, is
Mhm.
to you. What would you do if ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, or other federal agents were to show up at a school, a food pantry, or a business in Southampton to round up local individuals? How would you train and direct our village police to manage such a situation?
So I have actually spoken to the chief of police about this, and I'm very pleased to, again, that I was able to appoint Suzanne Hurto as the chief of police here in Southampton Village. She rose up through the ranks over the past, 25, 30 years. She's done an amazing job, and I believe she's actually the only female police chief on Eastern Long Island. But I've spoken to her about this very issue, and she said that, again, they have protocols in place that they will follow and follow the law of exactly what they are to do if something like that were to occur. That has not happened so far, but I have absolutely complete confidence in our chief of police and actually our whole police department. In fact, I've appointed the top three positions in the police department now. I just made Chris Wetter a captain, and I made Ashley Jones a lieutenant. So we have an excellent police force. I put them up against any village police force in the state. And I know they will do the right thing, and they know exactly what to do if this were to occur.
Okay, Trustee Simeoni, the same question. Do you want me to
Well,
repeat it?
excuse me? No,
Do you want me to?
I heard the question. Of course, we do have an excellent police force, and I have full confidence in Captain Suzanne Hurtado. And I also believe that because of the rules that exist in New York State, that the police cannot assist in any of the actions being taken by ICE. However, they cannot interfere either. But I'm sure there are protocols in place with our police force that will prevent any kind of issues between these varying agencies.
All right, thank you. The next question is for you, Trustee Simeoni. The village has hired a police officer who was cited in an off-duty incident 4 years ago that involved alcohol and a motor vehicle accident. As a result, he subsequently resigned from his previous assignment as a police officer, where he served in another town. What was your thinking in selecting him? Were there no other qualified candidates from the civil service list?
That's very interesting. I mean, actually, I was the only trustee that voted no on this assignment. My issue primarily was one of process. That is, I had no information about the police officer until I found out myself what the background was. Of course, the allegations were quite severe. You cannot expect someone to be driving while intoxicated and the other issues that were involved. However, I understand that the police officer is now on probation, and I truly hope that he passes his probation and he actually becomes an effective officer in our police force. However, I stand firm on the fact that having a choice at the time, I would have preferred selecting an officer that did not have that kind of background that kind of background that this police officer had.
So you did not know this history at the time when you approved the selection, is that correct? Do
I did not
understand?
approve.
Well, you did not approve. Okay. Thank you. Mayor Mango, same question.
Yes, thank you very much. Trustee Simeoni had an opportunity to speak to the police chief prior to the meeting when we discussed hiring this police officer. And I don't know whether he took full advantage of that or not, but I want to just explain the situation. We had promoted Officer Mueller to become a sergeant, so we had a vacancy in our ranks. We went to the civil service list. There was one person on the civil service list. He was actually someone who had been working for Southampton Village. As someone who we had put through the Suffolk County Police Academy, he declined the offer and decided to go work for Suffolk County. So there was no other option of getting an immediate police officer from a civil service list. The chief did exactly what a former chief had done in bringing in an active duty police officer from a neighboring community. Former police chief Cummings brought two people in, I believe, from Riverhead. And again, Chief Hertel said, we have the ability to bring someone in from West Hampton. I went over this with her many, many times, and I want to make it also clear that he was never accused of drunk driving. In fact, a breathalyzer was never given after the accident, and there is nothing on his record about drunk driving. He had an accident, yes. He was suspended, yes. He was brought back into full duty at the West Hampton Police Department and served there for many years as a good policeman. I spoke to other officers that had worked with him in West Hampton. They all told me, and this was unknown to the candidate, they all told me that he was a good officer and that he would be a good addition to the Southampton Village Police Department. I trust my chief. I cannot say that enough. It was her recommendation, and I trust my chief. And it is true what Mr. Simeoni said. I also did bring him in on a 12-month probation so that if anything were to happen, he would be out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next question goes to you, Mayor Mango, relating to the sewage treatment plant.
Yes.
Last year, the village received a federal grant for the installation of a centralized sewer system that would collect, treat, and dispose of sewage from the village's downtown area. What is your opinion about the plant's proposed location? Village roads are now in bad shape because of the project. Can this federal funding be used for road repair? If not, how will road repairs be paid for?
Okay, I don't think that the sewer project has had any impact on the roads of the village at this point because we haven't embarked upon it yet. This is something the village has been talking about for a very long time. It's very important to the village for two reasons. One, it's the environmentally right thing to do. We're only on septic right now. We must change to a modern system. It also will allow our downtown to be able to be rejuvenized in terms of maybe having an additional restaurant option or possibly apartments on the second story that would be more moderately priced than single family homes that we have in the village today. So again, from the environmental reasons to business reasons, the sewer is the right thing to do. The village did the right thing in putting together a very excellent committee to look at this proposed sewer system. We brought D&B in as engineers to review all options and to come up with the best solution for the village of Southampton. They've been working on this actually for years now. We finally do have a map and plan for the central business district. The biggest hurdle that we still need to get over is locating the sewage treatment plant. No location has been identified yet. Because the previous mayor had identified a location up north of the village, and many of the residents there turned out to say, we don't want this in our backyard. So we are continuing to look for the right option. We do need 3 acres. It's not an easy place to find, but previously on Friday, I stated that we actually have entered into discussions with the SUNY campus at Southampton College to talk about possibly having a joint sewage treatment plant at that site that would take care of additional housing that the governor wants to have there, workforce housing, as well as a hospital located at that site. And if there was the possibility to build a sewage treatment plant there, and then again, pump the effluents from the central business district to that location, that is one possible answer.
Thank you. Trustee Simeoni, same question.
Well, we've been talking about a centralized sewer district sewage treatment plant for about 20 years. And back in 2014, I believe, we had a project that was turned down. And Mayor Manger, as a trustee and as a mayor, it's been 3 years now that we're still trying to put together a centralized sewer system, and we don't seem to be going anywhere with that. I already proposed when I was elected as a trustee to consider instead a decentralized sewer system. It would allow us to connect directly to the present septic systems, so that the effluent could be pumped then to a sewage treatment plant, but it would only be for the effluent. Because of that, the piping would be a lot smaller. It would be a lot easier to run the pipes, and probably we will not need to be tearing up the roads or anything like that. And we have at least 8 locations that would be available in the village. And you only probably need 1 or 2 treatment plants, and these would be buried underground. You wouldn't even see them. So I don't think we would have an issue with the locations. And again, the cost would be about 1/3 of what it would cost for a centralized sewer system, which today is being estimated between $60 and $80 million. So I think it's a solution that needs to be looked at very carefully as an alternative, since we're not going forward yet with the centralized sewer system.
Thank you. The next question, and this will,
Wait,
you'll
ma'am,
start with.
could I respond
a rebuttal?
briefly? Yeah, so I do just want to point out that, again, the central sewage treatment plant would actually purify the effluents much further than what Mr. Simeoni is calling for in this example. The sewage treatment plant that we have worked on with D&B would actually really purify that water to the extent that you could actually use it to water your lawn if you wanted to. But the other thing I want to mention to you is I actually do want to have the ability to tear up some of the roads, because I am very eager to put some of the overhead wires, telephone lines, electrical power lines underground. They've done this in other villages. It looks fantastic. Go look at what they did in West Hampton. Maria Moore, when she was the West Hampton mayor, did a fantastic job. She's now the supervisor of the town. And really one of the biggest accomplishments she did was the transformation of downtown West Hampton. So again, it can be done. Again, I would like to put in sewage lines with burying the overhead wires and pumping it out of the village. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question has to do with traffic. Trustee Simeoni would start. Southampton Town Highway Superintendent Charlie McCardle has called the County Road 39 traffic experiment to expedite the exit of trade parade cars and trucks out of the area a success. How are Southampton Village roads, including Hill Street, impacted? Would you support continuation of this experiment? What ideas do you have about easing the traffic flow in the village?
Well, first of all, getting the traffic moving on County Road 39 is essential in order to alleviate the traffic on the streets of the village of Southampton. If the traffic is moving, people will not have to detour through our streets and to try to get onto Hill Street. But the issue we're having right now, while the traffic is not moving expeditiously on County Road 39, is our motorists trying to find other ways to expedite their way outside of Southampton. So it's very important that at that point that we enforce our traffic rules on certain streets, in particular on Somerset, Corrigan, and Bishops for right-hand turns. If we enforce that and people know we're enforcing it and going to give tickets if they make a right-hand turn on Hill Street, they will stop using those streets. Same thing goes for the other side on Lee Avenue, Ox Pasture and whatnot, for the left-hand turns, and that has to be enforced. Already, I think we've seen some results by enforcing that the less cars are already going through those streets. Further, we should also try to make it more difficult by for motorists who are even speeding on our streets by making sure we have enforcement for that as well. People must know that you cannot speed and you cannot go through the village of Southampton just to avoid County Road 39. I am very happy about that experiment. I hope that they find a way in order to make it permanent. And even on Hill Street, probably the lights should be turned off at a certain point at certain intersections in order to make sure that the flow moves as fast as possible. The other problem, of course, is that not having enough workforce housing in the village, we have too many people coming from outside.
Thank you. The next question, we'll first go to Mayor Mangum. It has to do with the
Yes.
solar awning.
No, well,
Uh,
do I get to answer on the traffic though?
No, I'm sorry, you get one rebuttal
I
to one
didn't get
question.
to, but I didn't get to answer the traffic question.
Well, you didn't, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
Go ahead.
Did I answer the traffic question yet, Ed?
I think you did.
I thought you did, but
I didn't even talk about it.
you've
No,
had too many
traffic-
debates.
It
Traffic-
was a
traffic-
silent reply.
Traffic
Yes.
is a perennial problem here on the South Fork and specifically in Southampton Village, because we are at the junction where it narrows down to only two routes over the Shinnecock Canal, either up at County Road 39 into 27 or the Old Montauk Highway. I have a great relationship with Charlie McCardle, and he kept me informed about this, after it was going on. And the first day, I would say, was actually quite difficult because people weren't used to it, and it caused a lot of chaos. But as the week progressed and people understood what was going on, the traffic really did ease up, and it was amazing the volume that we were able to pass through again this part of Eastern Long Island without as much difficulty. So I did call Charlie McCardle and my Chief Hurto again into my office after the experiment, after the trial period, and we had an after action report discussion. We all agreed that it is worth pursuing this next year when we can put it into the budget. So again, we want to work with Ed Romaine, the Suffolk County Executive, because it is a county road. It's County Road 39. I do have a good relationship with Ed Romaine. I've known him for over 20 years. He had me on his transition team when he became county executive. And again, I've spoken to him on more than several occasions actually now about traffic. I mean, he's even getting to know some of the village streets. He knows McGee Street. He knows, anyway, we've talked about, again, what we can do to help County Road 39. If there's even an option for another limited access highway north of the village that might be able to take some of the traffic away from County Road 39, specifically on the PSEG right-of-way where the high tension wires are, under that would be a possibility for additional roadway. But again, we want to work with everybody because this is not just a village issue. This is a county, town, village. It's a regional issue. Thank you.
The next question goes to Mayor Manga. It has to do with the solar awning in the historic district. Residents have raised concerns about the appearance and aesthetics of a highly visible solar awning recently installed in the historic This in Job's Lane parking lot next to Agawam Park. How was the site selected? And well, this question I'm going to have to change a bit, but how was the site selected? And do you support that decision?
So let's go back to how this all started. This all started actually under my predecessor in 2022 when the village entered into the New York State Climate Smart Communities Pledge. It actually took the Climate Smart Communities Pledge. 3 of the 10 items that needed to be fulfilled in that Climate Smart Communities Pledge are, and I'm going to read them: build a climate smart community, decrease energy use, and shift to clean, renewable energy. Again, we worked with then trustee Aresta to bring in Johnson Controls, a renowned firm that is doing this in other locations across Long Island and across other northeastern states. And they put together a plan so that we could realize a 718 kilowatt generation from solar power. And they came up with that number based on our buildings and our usage. And they determined that if we were able to achieve that, we would actually save over 60% in our PSEG electrical bills. Right now, the police station has been hooked up. The Department of Public Works has been hooked up. And I just heard from our superintendent, Steve Phillips, at the DPW barn, that the meter is actually spinning in reverse because it is actually generating more electricity than we are using. We put up solar arrays next to Lola Prentice Park, behind the Windmill Lane ambulance barn, and nobody said anything about that. It's the same, actually, exact design almost as what then was used in the Job's Lane parking lot. And remember, it's a parking lot. The reason why we ended up there was because they first proposed to put it in the West Main parking lot, which would necessitate removing trees. I heard trustee hopeful Rob Coburn say that we wouldn't have had to take down that many trees. We actually would have had to have taken down trees in the Southampton Arts Center garden. So when I said that is off the table, you must find another location, they offered up then the Job's Lane parking lot.
Thank you. Trustee Simeoni, the same question.
Yes, this is another situation where the present administration does not reach out to anybody. We're talking about putting an industrial looking structure that is visible from Jobs Lane, right next to Lake Agawam and the park there. That really should not be there. And the mayor did not consult with the ARB or the CBA about being able, or even getting any kind of feedback from any of the residents, whether that would be something that would work out. It just suddenly started going up, and immediately people did not like that. I've seen on websites solar awnings that actually could maybe work, that are attractive. This is just an industrial looking structure in absolutely the wrong place, and maybe we don't really need it. We already did a lot of solar work throughout the village. I think this was set up maybe to give power to the algae harvester that's being proposed, but we still don't have that either. And who knows whether we'll even get it at this point, since we don't have funding for it. But at this point, I think only one of two things can happen: either, depending on the cost, so we remove it, or we try to beautify it by painting it or doing something to make it fit into the environment better.
Thank you. The next question.
Can I have a quick rebuttal to that one?
No, I'm sorry. You're out of
No more rebuttals. Okay.
You're out of
Okay. Okay.
Sorry. The next question will go to Trustee Simeoni first. Docks and bulkheads. For some time, the village has banned the use of CCA treated wood, chromated copper arsenate for docks and bulkheads, because it was thought to be bad for the environment. Recently, there has been a discussion about lifting this ban. What is your position on this? And this is for Trustee Simeoni.
Okay, treated wood for docks and bulkheads.
Yeah, in other words, do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I heard the question.
Okay.
I mean, in order, I think I would consider maintaining the ban if it's going to influence the environment. The treated wood, of course, is more resistant to water and to especially saline water. But if it has been shown that the bulkheads could create an issue on the environment, and I would be favorable to maintain that.
Thank you. Mayor Manga?
Yeah, this is an area I have to admit I do not know much about the CCA treated wood issue. I would probably want to study it some more. But again, we are definitely trying to promote the safest, greenest environment in Southampton Village. And certainly we would take that into consideration before we were to again allow the ZBA to issue approvals for bulkheads or docks. If it's actually in a body of water, that is actually also controlled by the town trustees. And so we would also want to be working with the town trustees to understand what their position is on this issue, because again, because of the Dongan patent from the 1600s, they have some control over the bodies of water that are in and around the village of Southampton. And so we would work with them on again, the use of this type of wood for docks or bulkheads.
Thank you. The next question has to do with Lake Agawam. This goes to the mayor first. What is happening with the cleanup of Lake Agawam? What is the status of the algae harvesters slated for the Lake Agawam project? And are you pleased with the current progress?
Yes, well, the progress is moving forward. It's slow, but we're getting there. It's been quite an uphill battle to move forward with some of these solutions to the water quality of Lake Agawam. I am pleased to say that actually the draft agenda that went out an hour ago has on it the resolution for me to sign a contract with Isotech for the permeable reactive barrier that is going to be placed at the northern end of Lake Agawam to prevent the effluents from the business and the restaurants there, specifically in the Job's Lane vicinity, from leaching into Lake Agawam underground. So that I will sign again with the board's approval on Thursday, so that we can move forward with that. In terms of the algae harvester, the village worked for years on this. Especially under the former mayor, especially to secure 2 grants, one from the town of Southampton for $5 million and one from the federal government for $5 million. We are working to put contracts in place so that we are, again, guaranteed that if we embark upon this, we will get to be reimbursed by these grants. I have signed no agreement yet, and I will not sign any agreement until we have contracts in place. We have an excellent attorney in Eileen Powers. She is an expert on contracts, and she is working very diligently, not only with the EPA, but with the CPF, the Community Preservation Fund, for the $5 million from the town. So again, we had to get over hurdles with the DEC and EPA. Those were achieved. We had to get a vote by the entire township of Southampton to exchange property on the west side of Lake Agawam, so that on the east side in Dozier Park, we could place the algae harvesters. And so that has all been done. Now we just need to finish and sign the contracts.
Thank you. Trustee Simeoni?
Well, of course, the health of Lake Agawam is dependent on the effluents that go into Lake Agawam, and the sewer would be number one. By having a sewer in the downtown district, you probably eliminate about 40% of the effluents that go into Lake Agawam. The permeable reactive barrier is an important project as well that will definitely help in stopping effluents from going into the Lake Agawam. As far as the algae harvester, bear in mind that all that is going to do is not going to really clean up the Lake Agawam. It's just going to remove the algae on the surface. It will help, but it's not a solution. And if we don't have the grants in place, I don't think we definitely should not be advancing these funds. We're talking about $10 million. So before we do anything of that nature, I think we should be assured that we have grants in hand, guaranteed, before going forward. Um, Um, Other than that, those are the basic things that we can do. The other things that we should be doing and considering very carefully is the issue of the fertilizers. We have a lot of land around Lake Agawam with lawns that are being fertilized with chemical fertilizers. And I think it's time that we start finding a way to encourage the use of organic fertilizers, which get absorbed go through the groundwater much slowly and get absorbed easily by the plants, because it takes a longer time for the fertilizer to percolate into the ground. So that's something else we should look at, and also very important to be able to encourage IA systems in that area as well. So anything of that nature will help.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with trustee Simeoni, relates to the Old Town Pond. In May, the board voted to begin the environmental review process that would allow the company and Bioorganics to begin a project that the company said would restore the ecological structure and function of Old Town Pond by treating nutrient pollution and sediment overload with Bacillus bacteria. Do you think the village should agree to the proposal? Why or why not?
Right now, before that even happens, of course, Bioorganics has to get the permits, and those permits should be able to assure us about the safety and the effectiveness of that. But bear in mind that each body of water is different. So before they proceed, they really need to check the chemistry and make sure that by injecting these bacillus, which are harmless, by the way, and are found in nature, and therefore I think if it works, it would really be a godsend in order to try to clean up the pond, to make sure that we don't have a situation of hypoxia, that is the lack of oxygen for any marine life, and that that it is truly safe. So I think it's an idea that definitely needs to be pursued. It definitely would help. Well, I like to see how it actually works, but we have to make sure that it's safe before we proceed.
Okay. Mayor Malincon?
Yeah, I think on this question, I agree with trustee Simeoni. The board did vote unanimously to go ahead with the SECRA for this proposal. But again, it's a proposal. No contract has been signed. This is not a done deal. We just wanted to go forward, understanding the science. And we have also made it very clear to them that we want them to go out and get the DEC permit on their own. We will not finance them to go get a DEC permit. So the company is doing that on their own. I'm waiting for them to come back with those results. And again, after further analysis and again, discussion with those that live in the area and those on the board, as well as others in the village that obviously are interested, concerned citizens about our environment, have everyone come in and discuss this and figure out whether this is a solution for cleaning up or helping to clean up Old Town Pond. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with Mayor Manager. It has to do with the historic district expansion. Last fall, the village received a New York State grant to study expansion of the historic district in the northwest and southern portions of the village. Some homeowners in those areas opposed the expansion because it would increase scrutiny of any building plans and might impose limits on what they can do to expand or renovate their homes. What is your opinion about expansion of the historic district?
Right. Well, again, I think as trustee Stevenson said earlier, this was something that came out of the master plan revision, that it was something that the village should take a look at. And so again, the ARB went out and was able to secure a state grant in the amount of $40,000 to do an inventory, take an inventory to understand exactly what's out there. What, you can't make a decision without the proper information. So this was to go out and actually take an inventory, take stock of what we have in different parts of the village. Again, it was unanimously voted upon by the entire board, including Trustee Simeone, that we should go forward with this grant. So they're now doing the analysis. We won't hear probably until the fall what the results of that are. But I've made it very clear, and I said to Joe Shaw the other night that I don't always take his advice, but I think in this case I would take his advice, and I think I would like to change the law so that the Board of Trustees has the authority in granting expansions of a historic district of an area of the village. Right now, it rests with the ARB. It's the Architectural Review Board and Historic Preservation, but the village has the right by a public hearing and a vote to take that authority from the ARB and make that decision ourselves. I've spoken to the chairman of the ARB, HP, and Mark McIntyre. He agrees that he's fine with the village board taking that authority. And so I would like to do that. And then I would like to hear from the public, those that live in these areas and these proposed district expansion areas, to see what they think. If there are some in an area that think it might be of benefit to them and they would like that, then we can move forward with it. If there's a resounding call for no expansion of the historic district, and I've heard that from a few people when I've been going door to door throughout different parts of the village, they would be concerned about that. And so we will listen to them, and then we don't have to do that. But that's what I'd like to say on that topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Simeone?
I think you have to consider, first of all, that the ARB, and I believe the mayor as well, the $40,000 grant study is not the first study. There's actually a very large study that was done a couple of years ago that shows that the intention really was to identify 4 different areas that should be expanded according to the ARB and the mayor. And not only that, but 3 years ago, the code for the historic district was also amended substantially, was completely revised. When it first passed in 1986, the only reason that it actually passed, that the residents accepted it, there was a clause saying that the ARB could only control or could only look into what could be seen from the street. That was revised to 3 years ago, and now the ARB has purview over the whole area, the whole house, the front, the back, the landscaping, anything you want to do in the historic district now must go in front of the ARB. And in addition to that, now we're looking to do an expansion. I think that until recently, when I brought up the subject and started informing people, because nobody knew about it, when we passed that $40,000 grant, I figured, well, let's go ahead with it. We have the grant, no problem. But I said, people really should know about it. They should know what the intentions are, what we're trying to do. I got that information out, and quite frankly, nobody really wants to get involved with the historic district expansion. It means higher costs for insurance, lower property values, and a bigger burden to maintain one's home.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. So this will start with Trustee Simeone. Last winter, the village board voted to approve a special permit for the mixed-use development of 71 Hill Street. That includes demolition of the clock tower, 48 units with kitchenettes, 8 workforce housing units designated for first responders, with some commercial use permitted and no public amenities. What is your opinion of the mixed-use special permit approval? Are you concerned about additional traffic congestion on Hill Street?
Well, I was the only member on the board that voted against it. Primary reason for voting against it, I felt that in given the special permit, which allows a use that would not be otherwise permitted in that area, that I thought that we should be getting more affordable housing, more workforce housing. We have 8 units of workforce housing and 40 units, 1-bedroom apartments, really, resort type units. And I felt that we should get at least a couple more. As far as the traffic, it probably would be an issue. You're talking about 50 parking spaces, or you're going to have If it's completely full during the summertime, and you have a lot more traffic going in and out. I understand we will have a crossway from the two parking lots that will help possibly. And I think the mayor was also looking to maybe open up the end of a radian way onto Cooper's Farm Road with a right-hand turn only into Windmill Lane. So maybe that will alleviate. I think the structure is still very large, and being the one-bedroom resorts, there's going to be a lot of people there, which could help maybe the business district. But it's a project I think needed more review and evaluation.
Okay, Mayor Manga, same
Yeah,
question?
this was actually a zoning change that was done in 2009 to allow a mixed use there to again encourage workforce housing, something that we desperately need in the village of Southampton. Be that as it may, we actually went forward, and before I was on the board, the previous administration on April 20th of 2021, I have the resolution in front of me, actually approved an even denser development at that location, 46 units with only 4 workforce housing units. When they came in to me, when I became mayor, they said, we would like to try and go forward with this project. I said, you're not going to be able to go forward with the way it is. I want it revised. I made them come down from 46 to 40 units. I made them double the number of workforce housing units from 4 to 8. I insisted that there be cross access to the movie theater to the east. That's something, again, they did not want. I said, well, I'm not making a deal unless you give me the cross access. I insisted upon 57 parking spaces, which is what is required for that development. And as Trustee Simeone rightly said, I'm looking at the option of possibly opening up another exit from Viridian Way to go east onto Cooper's Farm Road to exit at the light at Windmill Lane. That would help get people out of there if actually it is congested. I mean, right now, the inn even has weddings at that location, and that adds obviously a lot of traffic, but I've never seen it come to a point that no one can move anywhere. I mean, there are sometimes at rush hour when it's a little difficult at that location, but we've tried to ease that. And I think with these other solutions, with another exit onto Cooper's Farm Road to Windmill Lane, we would alleviate that. But this project will have its own sewage treatment system, so it will not be adding to the village. And again, the other option was to just let them have commercial stores, which would have created even more traffic than this residential basically unit will provide.
Thank you. That ends our Q&A period, and now each candidate will present a 1-minute closing statement, and we'll begin with Trustee Simeone. Trustee
Okay.
Simeone, your closing statement?
Yeah. I'm running because I believe everyone here should feel seen, heard, and valued. Let's get back to basics: common sense plans, transparency, and accountability. Most of all, we see a government that no longer invites everyone to the table, that limits voices instead of welcoming them. As your mayor, everyone will be heard and valued. I will restore the spirit of collaboration. I will open up our meetings to more public comment, and together we'll find thoughtful, long-term solutions to the issues that matter most. From traffic to zoning to public infrastructure projects and the future of our sewer system. We will show respect for our great employees, the police, the EMS, the fire, the ocean rescue, and our employees in the village, and we will keep our village safe. Because I believe that when we work together and listen to each other, Southampton becomes a better place for all of us. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you again to the League of Women Voters and to those of you tuning in. You've heard a lot of talk tonight about transparency and the complex and demanding issues facing our village. I have already delivered on many of them. We've launched traffic mitigation, enforcement efforts with enforcement, made infrastructure upgrades, kept taxes in check, and brought stability and civility back to Village Hall. My opponent has been on the board for just 1 year and is now seeking to lead our village without a clear record of results. Meanwhile, I've put in the long hours, built important relationships to advocate for the village and deliver. It is not in the village's best interest to change its leadership at this time. And this election is about just that leadership, about who has the experience, the energy, and the vision to keep Southampton moving forward. With successful leadership at both the local and federal levels, I am that person. I am honored to be endorsed by 4 former mayors of Southampton, Mayors Hattrick, Romanowski, Epley, and Irving. I truly enjoy going to work with my colleagues every day in Village Hall. I humbly ask for your vote on June 20th to continue to serve you and the community we love. I would be honored to finish the job we've started. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless.
On behalf of the league, I'd like to thank both candidates for participating in tonight's debate. I think it's an important way to communicate with the village. Our thanks also goes to those who submitted questions for the debates, and a very special thank you to the staff of the Southampton CTV, whose technical support has made this virtual debate possible. You can see the debate recorded starting tomorrow right up to the election day on June 20th. And finally, our thanks to the voters of the Southampton Village for watching and taking an interest. Please remember that voting will take place on Friday, June 20th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the Southampton Cultural Center. Thank you and good luck to both of you. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.